Hi everyone, welcome to Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva. I'm Cheryl. Again, if this is your first time, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If this is your second or third time coming back, welcome again and thank you. So today I'm just going to do a really quick video. I did one yesterday on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, specifically about Erica Jane and her husband Tom and everything that they're currently going through. Today I just want to do a quick video and touch on the Real Housewives of Potomac and the situation between Gizelle, if you watch this show, you know who I'm talking about, and her ex-husband, Pastor Jamal Bryant. So there's a thing that's going on with them right now, but before I get into that, let me just back up a little bit and say that they were married at one time. They ended up getting a divorce because he cheated, and but of course they have children together, 3. So they've remained friends, and now they're allegedly getting back together. If you saw my previous video on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills with Erica Jane, then you know that I have helped Bravo out and kindly renamed the Real Housewives franchise to the Fake Housewives of, and just throw the tagline afterward, whether it's Beverly Hills, Atlanta, Potomac, or whatever. And the reason why I'm saying that is because so many of them, we have learned that even though it's supposed to be real and we do know it's reality TV, but at the same time, to find out that some of the storylines are just so fake, it's starting to decrease my interest in these different shows. But currently with the Real Housewives of Potomac, Gizelle Bryant is now allegedly, she's redating her ex-husband, Jamal Bryant. And under normal circumstances, who would have a problem with that? I think it's great, especially because they have children together, and it would be nice if, the family unit can stay together and the mother and the father can both be in the home. The issue I have with this situation is, one, he has a lot of sketchiness going on with him, allegedly. And 2, he has a lot of sketchiness going on with him, allegedly. And 3, he has a lot of sketchiness going on with him, allegedly. So he's a pastor, hence Pastor Jamal Bryant, who took over the church, New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. And I've gone to church my entire life. And so I really feel for the church members at New Birth. One, because when Jamal Bryant came in to take over, it was because their previous pastor, it was just a huge scandal with the previous pastor. It was a lot, and I don't even want to get into it, but it was a lot. And that pastor has since passed away, so rest in peace. And then Jamal Bryant came to take over. So when you, as a church, when you're selecting someone to step in to take over, whether the previous pastor passed away or has moved on to another location or has just retired, you go through such a process in trying to select who is going to step into this particular role, because it's so important. And if anybody knows the Baptist church world or just the church world period, it's almost like electing the president. It's like that serious. It's like a high level of just seriousness that goes into selecting the person that is going to step into the role. And for most churches, it is not one person that makes that decision. That decision goes through a board, and they talk about it, and it's just so serious, in order to find who is going to step into this role for you. New Birth is a big church, and I'm sure they went through whatever process they went through, and I'm sure at the time, and maybe still at this moment, they feel like, he was the best selection or the best choice. Everything I'm about to say that I heard about Pastor Jamal Bryant is all alleged. I don't have any proof, but allegedly, outside of the 3 children that he has with the ex-wife. He has several others. Some of them, I think one is a 22-year-old that obviously was before his marriage. Not sure if he was married to that mom. And then he has the three with Gizelle Bryant, who is on the Real Housewives of the Potomac. And then there's allegedly a few others. Allegedly, there's maybe one of the moms went to new birth. Allegedly, he's very messy. He's very messy. And when I say messy, I mean allegedly messy with the sleeping around. And then the other problem is, it's not that he's just sleeping around. If these people are getting pregnant, I'm going to throw in allegedly, you're probably not using any type of birth control to try to at least prevent these pregnancies. So the problem I have with that, and Gizelle getting back with him, and this is all her business. She can do whatever she wants to do. She's a grown woman. But to risk your own life with someone who's allegedly just so messy like that and a little bit reckless, when you're going around just allegedly sleeping around with all of these different women and then not using protection, why would you want to get yourself back into that, Gizelle? I don't know. And for him, for Pastor Jamal Bryant, I just think that it is slightly disgraceful that you're running around, that you have all of these rumors out there with all of these, different babies by different mothers that you are not married to, and you are a representative of the church. You're the pastor of the church. And yes, we all deserve forgiveness, and we all are human and make mistakes. But I highly believe when you take on certain positions, you need to be ready, and you almost have to be 99% like Jesus himself when you decide to take certain positions in life. When you decide that you are going to be a representative of God and stand before the people and bring forth God's word and tell the people that, you know what, I know temptation is out there. I know that life is hard. But read the Bible. Do your best, as I will be an example for you too. And your example can't be that you're sleeping with people in a congregation, again, allegedly. You're fathering all of these children outside of wedlock. What kind of example are you to this church? How are you leading the people? It's unfair. It's not right. The other thing I didn't like, on the Real Housewives of Potomac, they had a scene where he met up with Gizelle in Atlanta at this restaurant, and the surprise to his 3 children with Gizelle was that this restaurant was bought for them. That's nice. But how do you do that when you have other children and you present just 3 of them on TV that will forever be able to be seen by the rest of your children, and you buy a restaurant for just the 3, not the other children? And at the very least, the 22-year-old, 22, but still, it's your child. If you want to leave a legacy, you leave a legacy for all of your children, especially, and I don't know where the 22-year-old lives, if that child lives in the state of Atlanta, but it's like, if anything, the 22-year-old would be able to actually physically work in the restaurant now and help you build it up. But instead, you're on TV with just the 3 and saying, this is what I bought for y'all. Back in the day, I was born and raised in the church. And here's the thing, when we had pastors, ushers, or different people, leaders in the church who did some things that were not of the Bible because they were leaders, Not because they're not going to kick out a regular, congregation member for anything crazy, because we all fall short and we all sin. However, when they had a leader that did something wrong, all they would do, announce to the congregation, they would say, you know what, sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so is going to sit a season out. I didn't quite understand it when I was growing up. But they would say they're going to sit this season out. They're not going to usher. They're going to rest. They're going to, just spend more time with their family, so forth and so on. But AKA, they got some scandal that we're not going to talk about. But we're also not going to let them continue to lead. But they could stay in the church, but they're not going to stay ushering. They could stay in the church, but they're not going to stay singing in the choir for right now. Sit down for a season. That's how they did it back in the day in the churches. I don't know when we got to the point where with the church where we just decide that if you are a leader, we're just going to keep covering up and paying people off for the sins that you commit, and we're going to act like we don't hear these rumors and these things are really not happening around us. Why, if all of this is going on in his life, is New Birth allowing him to still stand before the people and pastor? I'm confused. I just hope the leaders and the board of that church would do like they did way back in the day and say, hold on, we need you to sit this season out while you clear your life up, while you get everything together. We're not saying we believe these women that are trying to say that you father children with them or that you're sleeping with them or whatever. We're not saying we believe that, but we need you to sit this out for 1 minute, clear the situation up, hold on for a season, and when the smoke clears, come back and you are able to step in that pulpit again. But when another leader, a senior leader, says that, okay, you're ready again. But it's making a mockery when they're just allowing you to stay up there and just preach to the people when this whole big scandal right now is going on. Jamal Bryant, I know you're never probably going to see my video on this channel, but I would ask for the way that they handled and they did things way back when in the church, that you remove yourself from the pulpit. Sit down for a moment, sit down for a season, clear up your business in the streets, and then come back. There's some other pastors out there now that, had, one of them had a show on OWN, but I will say that church, I believe they made him sit down. I'm not going to go through his name and all of that right now, because right now we're focused on the Real Housewives of Potomac. So for Gizelle and Pastor Jamal Bryant, Gizelle, I think personally is terrible, but we'll go through this in another video, how Bravo always forces people to have this storyline. I think since it's supposed to be reality TV, they should just bring you together and see what naturally happens, because that would be real. But for y'all, I guess, to have to come up with a storyline ahead of time so they know where you're going with things, I think is so much pressure. And I think that is why you have yourself in this craziness right now with allegedly pretending that you and Pastor Jamal Bryant were going to get back together, and that was your whole storyline this season, which it just seems so crazy and unbelievable, especially the scene where he did not make it to take the family pictures with the family because he said he got caught up in the airport and stuck in a nail salon. Messy. First of all, y'all working on getting back together. He knows that y'all supposed to be taking these family pictures. He goes to the airport. You decide to utilize a nail salon in the airport and you missed your flight. Come on. Anyway, Gizelle, like I said, I love you on the show. You are messy, but I'm hoping that the next season you do better with this storyline, and that you leave Jamal alone, because even your kids seem like they was not interested and could not be bothered. And then especially when, you know, our parents, they just know, they know what they know, and your own father was not here for the shenanigans with Jamal Bryant, Pastor Jamal Bryant. So if anybody watches the show, you have any comments, you have anything you want to say to me about this whole relationship with Pastor Jamal Bryant and Gizelle Bryant, you know, put your comments down and I will respond. I'm going to end this video by saying this. This season, I was actually also very disappointed between Monique and Candace. I was really disappointed with Monique, because if you watch the show, you know that one of the major things that happened this season was Candace and Monique had a fight. A lot of people, they were split between whether they was Team Candace or Team Monique. The real issue I had with Monique is I felt like regardless of who is solely responsible for the fight, I felt like Monique made a mockery of it. And I felt like Bravo not really making her, I don't want to say pay, but I don't know, making her, and the next season didn't happen yet. They didn't even finish this season. But if next season, if she does get to come back and she doesn't have to sit out about 3 to 5 shows, and I don't know how many even shows they do, so let's say 3 shows at the very least, and miss out on some of her cash, they are sending the wrong message. Monique laughed about this fight. She joked about dragging Candace. She was on screen talking about, I'ma beat her down. Why is that acceptable? And if you watch these franchises, if you remember this season where Nene had some whole scene where she went crazy when they was all in her bedroom and she was grabbing shirts of producers and some of the cast, oh, they made Nene sit out a couple of shows. I mean, I'm saying they made Nene sit out a couple of shows. So here it is, Monique, you're grabbing here. You're not showing any remorse. You're dragging this chick. You every interview you do, it's a joke to you about how she got beat down and was embarrassed. I just personally feel they're sending the wrong message. And at best, I'm not calling for anybody to get fired, because I don't really, I think they fire too much on these franchises. It's like the minute, you know, they don't even give people time to like really blend together, and it's like some of them, they give 1 season and they're like, you're fired. So no, I do not want Monique fired, but I think Monique needs to sit out. If she does get to come back next season, she needs to sit out about 3 to 4 shows as punishment for this fight that happened on the show. Because I just thought it was messy. I thought it was messy what she said after the fight and how she was trying to run to her car to snatch her up again. I think it was messy what she said in her confessional once the lawsuit was dropped by the judge. I just think it was messy. If people's words can provoke a fight, then that means every day in all of those Housewives franchises, people will be fighting. That's what they do. That's what they're paid to do. They're paid to talk mess and to provoke people. So how you feel justified because she used her words, you can use your hands because you had enough? You know how many people had to go through so much on these Real Housewives franchises because of words somebody said and they never put up the dukes? So you because you feel like she pushed you, and I would love to know what judge said that it was mutual. I'm shocked about that. I would just love to know what judge said, like, we gonna throw this out. No, I do not think and feel that Monique should have went to jail behind this. Especially she has kids. She has a beautiful family. I love her and her husband on that show. And the kids are absolutely to die for. They're just gorgeous. But still, that does not mean that I don't think that she wasn't wrong in this particular fight. I also believe wholeheartedly that a lot of them are jealous of Monique on that show. They jealous that she actually is a housewife, has a husband that loves her, and she has a beautiful family. They are jealous of her. But my thing is, just because someone is jealous of you and they provoke you and they're picking at you, it doesn't mean that you have the right to now go drag them and beat them down. I think it sends the wrong message. I'm shocked that the lawsuit was dropped. And then I'm shocked that to me, in a lot of ways, she's very immature, because if it was me and they dropped the lawsuit and they did my confessional, I would have been like, you know what, we both were wrong. If I felt that way, because that's the way it seems like she feels, and I would say, you know, we both were wrong, but even though we both were wrong, I do want to sincerely apologize to her, because I should never put my hands on anybody. And, you know, I'm going to anger management class. I'm going into classes to learn how to control my temper. You know, say something. I don't know. But to sit there and laugh and say, oh, you got dragged? You was embarrassed because you got dragged? You're not remorseful. And I really think they will send the wrong message if they don't hit her in the pocket, whether she cares about it or not. Because I mean, I know, you know, and I'm happy for it. Like her and her husband, they have a lot of money, so maybe she's not going to care. But you still got to send the right message and say, you know what, you can come back the next season, but you are sitting out 3 shows, so you're not getting paid for 3 shows, or maybe 4. I don't know, if they do 8, cut it in half. You do 4, you can do 4 scenes, 4 shows, but you won't do 4 for this bad behavior. And then if we have this behavior again, we'll deal with it accordingly. But anyway, guys, that's the Real Housewives of Potomac. Another part of the Real Housewives franchise is that I love and that I actually watch. So I just wanted to do this quick video to talk about, you know, Gizelle and Pastor Jamal Bryant, and how I just think it's, you know, the whole thing is a farce. And again, it was fake. It was fake, so that Gizelle can have a storyline, which I think is so sad, because I think there is so much more that can be birthed out of Gizelle. And I think part of the reason why most of these women on these franchises can't have like a real genuine story is because they're so pressured to have just this storyline that we're all going to watch. But I really would put my money on it that if they were allowed to have just a natural storyline, that we would still be watching and that we would still be okay. Because it's better than when you see these fake storylines and then they start to crumble, and it's like now you're just looking at them like everything they do is just fake. It's just so that, you know, they can get views for these shows and so that we'll watch them. But anyway, that's my rant about the Real Housewives of Potomac. I want to thank y'all if y'all stayed to the end of this video. Please do me a favor, like the video. It would help me out a lot. Subscribe and share, and stay tuned. I will be dropping videos for now every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Right now I'm filming in my kitchen because I get better lighting, but I am, you know, I'm new, but you know, bear with me because I'm working on my little scenery, my little setup, my lighting, everything. And I just want to thank all of y'all that are hanging in there with me and listening to my videos. So stay tuned and have a good one. Bye.